The 7 deadly sins are your key to happiness and fulfillment. 1400 years ago, Pope Gregory the Great developed the 7 deadly sins. Regardless of your religion, even if you're an atheist, the 7 deadly sins are your key to a happier and more productive life. The first sin is anger. Anger is one of the most common of the 7 sins. Most of us are quite capable of getting angry. Each of the sins has its own good and bad qualities. Anger can be useful in getting your way, but it also can lead to your destruction. The result of anger could be fights, violence, and murder. Anger is also the leading reason people do not succeed in business and personal relationships. There are 2 basic types of anger. The first is hot, external anger, where a rush of adrenaline increases the blood pressure, flushes the face, tenses the muscles, and results in a verbal or physical display of anger. The second type is cold anger, which is often portrayed by a clenched jaw, folded arms, and tapping foot. The second sin is pride. Everyone needs a certain amount of pride and self-esteem, but too much pride is destructive. Shakespeare wrote that pride comes before the fall. Pride should not be confused with self-respect, which is a good thing. There is nothing wrong with getting pleasure from your actual achievements and taking satisfaction in a job well done. Excessive pride, arrogance, aloofness, and conceit prevent success. The average person, ironically, believes himself to be above average. The truth is much different than the illusions we create. The third sin is envy. Envy is an intense desire to possess something that someone else has. This includes material objects, success, social status, character traits, abilities, wealth, fame, or practically anything. Even worse, with envy, you can feel that other people's fortune is your misfortune. Envy is the least likely of the 7 deadly sins that a person will own up to and acknowledge. This is because the admission of envy implies they have a deficit. Some envy is necessary for motivation and self-improvement, but the curse of envy is never being satisfied or happy with what we have and continually wanting what others have. The fourth sin is greed. Naturally, saving for a rainy day is a good idea. However, greed is the excessive desire to acquire or possess more than a person needs or deserves. The greedy person is stingy, hoards things, and never has enough. It could be money, possessions, power, approval, knowledge, or information. This miserly attitude of hoarding things and not sharing causes unhappiness. The fifth sin is gluttony. Gluttony is the overindulgence of eating, drinking, smoking, or drugs. We all have to eat, and physicians say a glass or 2 of wine is good for the heart. But obesity, alcoholism, and drug use create huge problems for the individual and society at large. Necessary and adequate amounts of food, drink, and healing drugs are good. The problem occurs when adequate becomes a compulsive behavior. Gluttony has to do with escaping from reality through overindulgence. The sixth sin is lust. Sex is necessary for procreation and is usually enjoyable, but excess can cause problems. Lust does not care about the partner, but only the indulgence of its own passion. Lust is the perversion of love replaced with a strong sexual desire. This desire may be subverted to various strange, loveless physical fetishes. Promiscuity and sexually transmitted disease can destroy relationships and ruin lives. Lust reduces truly committed love to an empty act of sex. Sin number 7 is sloth. Sloth is laziness, lack of concern, indifference, apathy, and hatred of anything that requires significant effort. Downtime is important to our mental health, but excessive laziness destroys our purpose, direction, and willpower. We also fail to even take proper care of our possessions and ourselves. The sloth mind refuses to be moved by anything and is a sin of neglect. We neglect our friends, our families, and even ourselves. Sloth kills the desire to increase and grow. The slothful person takes no joy in life and could lead to depression. A visual method to remember the names of the 7 deadly sins is to look at them in pairs. For example, lust and anger are one pair, pride and envy are another, as are greed and gluttony. Finally, sloth, which is apathy towards life, is in opposition to the 6 other sins that are part of life. Additional in-depth knowledge is available in the book, Defeat the 7 Deadly Sins. You can see the book by going to the website www.t7des.com.